Right now in this world, countries, it seems like every day a new one is doing it. They are cutting their exports. Their grain exports, now their corn exports. Prices at your grocery store are rising in rates. I saw reports on Drudge Report. They're raising faster than they've ever risen in history. And people still are clueless. Gas prices are raising the fastest in history. Literally, the dollar and other currencies are going to crap. Shalom, Falling Yeshua, welcome again to the ride. So, how do we get around this? Right. Well, right now, we're coming into spring. This is an ample time to grow food. And if you're looking for seeds, I sell. I don't sell every variety, but I harvest my own seeds and I sell my own seeds. If you're looking for seeds, and you go in the description, you'll see the email address hood2homestead@yahoo.com. You can purchase your seeds there. But planting food, turn your backyard luxury area into a doggone garden. Grow some food. Right now, my daughter's right here eating Jerusalem artichokes. Eating Jerusalem artichokes that we grow here and we sell. For instance, we sell Jerusalem artichokes. Jerusalem artichokes. Now, these right now, I'm going to be planting more of these. It's a size that. It's a nice size one. I'm going to be planting these in another garden that I am starting specifically for Jerusalem artichokes. They are my number one, I call it, economic collapse, survival food type thing, because they're invasive. They will just grow crazy. They're part of the sunflower family. But they're heavy in carbohydrates and in vitamins and other minerals that your body needs. Heavy, and I have a video on that. I have to finish the series, but I have part one of the 5-part series of that video. Jerusalem artichokes are an excellent way to grow food, to feed a family. Literally, you can feed a family with Jerusalem artichokes. Another thing that these are my potatoes from last year. All I did was bring them in the house and put them in this colander. I want to see what they survive. So I have potatoes. Now these are not all of them, obviously. These are just ones I was trying a little experiment with. And you can see they're ready. I have a large area designated for potatoes. So I'm growing tons of potatoes. Here's something else I was wanting to show y'all. Look at these. We grew these last year. Peppers. All different types of peppers. They know how to make different things. I don't know, understand. They know how to make a back rub with these peppers. They know how to make all different types of things with peppers. Aside from the seasonings and the fact that they're very, very good for you, we grow an abundance of peppers. And also, we store, we frozen up. Thank you. So my daughter came over here and brought me. These are some of the different peppers. HH means home harvested. Extra hot peppers. So these are really, really hot peppers, and I like these. And then these are some we reuse all of our containers. So this is some black pepper, but it's not black pepper. It's peppers ground down. So we have tons of these actually stored up, because they actually make their own seasonings here, which is a blessing. That's just my crushed red peppers. I eat crushed red peppers and everything. Grow food. Grow food. Fertilizer, cutting exports, fuel. You're going to need to find ways to save money. You're going to need to find ways to save cash. And the easiest way to save cash is grow your own food and cut your dependency on imports. Cut your dependency on things from outside of your property needing to be brought in. It's going to be nearly impossible to cut everything. I understand that. But you can cut as much as you possibly can. You can grow some food. You can, right over here right now, I have eggs incubating. I have a little chicken staring at me. We've hatched 7 or 8 chicks in the past week. That's meat. That's eggs. We have designated areas on our property where we grow chickweed. I mean, it's literally called chickweed. chickweed. So we feed it to our chicks and our chickens, and they eat, they destroy it. And we have whole areas grown. We use it as a ground cover here. We use clover as a ground cover here, and the clover the chickens love, and it's good for your soil. It puts nitrogen in your soil, but also it provides a feed for my goats. It provides a feed for my chickens. You need to get to the point of really, you got to get your mindset. You really need to get your mindset to a point of really focusing on of self-sufficiency. As much as you possibly can, you really need to get your mind focused into that area. And cut as much dependence on external things coming in as you possibly can. Obviously, you don't know how to make some people don't know how to make a knife, but I know how to make it. It's not going to be a top of the line knife, but I can make a cutting utensil using, some of the, scrap metal that I have. And I have tons of scrap metal here that I just get. If people are getting rid of something, I'll just bring it home because I can sand the metal down. I can use it for welding. I can use it to repair things. I just have scrap metal. But just having a regular grinder, you can make a sharp cutting instrument. We have to get to a point in our minds where everything is not about going out and spending your money because you can see, everyone's trying to play these market games. Well, you need to invest in XRP, or you need to invest in Bitcoin, or the next big thing. Listen, I'm gonna stick with what I've stuck with, and it's tangible assets, tangible, real assets. Right now there's a war going on. So and then this is just for me, but having a little extra ammo, considering that Russia, Tula, and Red Army, Red Army standard. Where do you think this stuff comes from? Where do you think this comes from? Russia. And right now there's a lot of exports, a lot of the world's ramping up. The world is ramping up. Everybody's gearing up to in one way or another, take part in this. Looks like it's going to be next global conflict. And global conflicts, the people in this country are not ready for a global conflict. They're not ready for what would come from it. We're not ready for what happens if gas goes up to $6 or $7 a gallon. You're not ready for that. Can you imagine trying to fill up your 30-gallon tank and in 3, 4, 5 months, 2 months, forget that, 2 months, you're paying an extra $2 per gallon to fill up your tank? An extra $60? That's just the fuel. Now let's talk about food. Now let's talk about other things that you need that are continuing to go up in price. And you think that you're going to make it. And you think that your neighbors are going to make it. You think that everything's going to be okay. Well, I'm not worried about it because I got a good paying job. But do your neighbors, I continue to keep talking about that. Do your neighbors have a good paying job? Because if they don't, or the people down the street don't, then what's going to happen when they can't afford food, when they can't afford the necessities, and they see that you have it? When they see you have the necessities that they want, what are you going to do? Come out of her. Yah's people. Pastor Fox coined it. He took it from the word, and he coined it. Come out of her, my people. I don't have to come out. But if you came out, right, and if you came out, you could grow a 150 foot by 150 foot section of these, and you'd have plenty of carbohydrates and vitamins growing. You could grow 150 foot by 150 foot area of these and have plenty of food to feed your plenty of food to feed your potatoes, plenty of food to feed your family. You could grow your lettuces and your radishes and your turnips and your beets and your Swiss chards and your greens and your tomatoes and your squashes and your peppers. And if you want to do corn, I'm not doing corn, but I know people who are doing corn. You can do your own corn. If you have your own animals and you have your own chickens, like I do, we put hundreds of bins. I'm talking 55-barrel bins of leaves in our chicken coop each year. Why? Because the chickens mulch that, they poop on it, and I have my own fertilizer. I'm not waiting for Russia to figure it out. I know how to produce my own fertilizer to fertilize my own food. We are buying fruit trees as much as we can buy them. I am propagating as much as I personally can propagate. Right down here, I have a propagation bins of goji berries and elderberries, and yes, some of those cuttings will be available this spring. Fig cuttings. I mean, and everything's growing and everything's blossoming, and we're gonna. I had to cut down a huge section to expand our orchard because my children happen to like fruit, and I happen to like the idea that I can produce an ample amount of fruit. Berries, elderberries. They know how to make the syrups and all the other stuff with the elderberries and the goji berries. You're gonna have to start thinking a little bit more outside of that normal nationalistic, let's all spend our money and chase the American dream, which actually is a nightmare, and all this bullshit. And you need to kind of hone it down to what does your family need? What does your family need, and give it to them, especially you men. Because right now, as things are continuing to fall apart, the one thing you don't want is you don't want your family to have to suffer because of your decisions as a man. Your decisions as a man should be for the betterment, for the expansion, and for the growth of your family. Not the destruction of your family because we follow one bad decision with another bad decision. You can't. I'm like, what are they doing down there? What's happening in the world right now, you can't deny it. Go and look at the news. The exports that are being cut, you can't deny it. You can't hide from it. The prudent man foresees the evil and hides it. If you were prudent, you would have foreseen this stuff happening. You would have seen that it was coming. You would have known that something's around the corner. And now that you get around the corner and you see it, you're like, oh, what do I do? I need to get my art together. And some people, we had a stream about that. Some people are going to be forced with building rowboats. You need an ark. Some people are going to be forced with building life rafts when you need an ark. You need an ark that you can store those provisions in. If you have chickens, make your own fertilizer. It's not hard. Just put carbon in your chicken coop. I use leaves because we have tons of leaves here because we have tons of trees. Just use some carbon, dump it in your chicken coop, let the chickens mulch it. If you have old cardboard, old newspaper, I know people who have gone to these mulching companies and just, bought loads of mulch or had tree companies dump the mulch there. And they take it to their chicken coop and they dump it in there. And the chickens turn all that mulch, wood clippings, tree clippings, and they turn it all into fertilizer. You can take your wood ash, full of calcium, potassium, manganese, and magnesium, from the stuff that you burnt to keep warm. We throw it in our chicken coop because our chicken coops use it for dust baths. And then in the dust baths, it keeps the mites off of them. And then they turn that that also mixes with it and turns into compost. You got to start thinking. Because financially, it's all coming down. And as you can hear, if you have children to feed, like I got children to feed, wives to feed, family to feed, you better take this shit seriously and not play the game. Because before we know it, who knows what the end of 2022 is going to look like? Could there be a global conflict which is going to affect everybody whether you like it or not? Because if there is a global conflict, then will they use the big bombs? But even if they don't, what's it going to do to your pocketbook? And what's it going to do to your neighbor's pocketbook? And that neighbor's pocketbook, and the people behind you's pocketbook, and the people in the apartment above you's pocketbook. You can have all the money you want to, but if they don't have it, they're going to come for you.
Mama, you are.
Bless y'all. As you can see, this is why I take it. You heard it in the background. This is why I take this seriously. This is why I take this seriously. Y'all bless me with them. To much is given, much is required from you men. Take this shit seriously. Shalom.